Welcome to an all-new episode of It's Just 10 Minutes. Grab a pastry, pour up a cup of coffee, and give me 10 minutes. While I've been on this journey towards destiny, I've learned a few things about pursuits. Give me 10 minutes to share these with you. It's Just 10 Minutes starts now. For me, the journey towards destiny has been filled with many things. Some of it good, some not so good. And here recently, it's been filled with frustration and at one point in time, despair. But as I work through these frustrations, I'm learning. I'm learning that the toughest part of this journey wasn't in starting it, although that was tough. The toughest part isn't the length of the journey. The toughest part of this journey is found in the pursuit. As I reflect on my recent frustrations, I had an epiphany of sorts. I realized that a great deal of my frustration stemmed from the fact that I was embarking upon the wrong pursuit. The wrong pursuit? Can you really have a wrong pursuit on the road to destiny? Why, yes, you can. Because instead of pursuing, I found myself being pursued. Now, as a woman, typically being pursued isn't a bad thing. But when you are pursued by pressure, and yes, my friends, pressure will chase you. And there are some forms of pressure, two to be exact. There's the external pressure that gives chase to us. The external refers to other people's expectations and opinions of us and the lives that we choose to live. People will exert all levels of pressure on you. Sometimes it's our parents pressuring us to go into one field of study or another. Sometimes it's our friends pressuring us to be like them or to carry out our lives as they do to obtain what they have. Then there's the internal pressure that chases us as well. The internal refers to our expectation of ourselves. For some of us, we are our toughest critic. We're too hard on ourselves. We set unrealistic expectations, and then when we fail to meet them, we find ourselves frustrated and often depressed and ready to give up and quit. Pressure will chase you, and that chase usually leads you to chase things and even people to alleviate the pressure. Have you ever watched one of those chase scenes in a movie? You know, the one with a person running down the street or running through buildings or jumping over buildings. You ever notice how the person being chased, they make a concerted effort to thwart the chase of the other person. They'll throw boxes or furniture or clothes or sometimes even people in the way of the person chasing them, just trying to get away. And so it is for us when we are chased by pressure. We throw anything at it to get it to go away. And all of that energy used evading pressure leaves us too tired and worn out to pursue the ultimate pursuit. When pressure chases us, not only do we end up chasing relief from it, but we end up being dependent. Pressure will make you dependent on people. When pressure chases you, you will end up chasing people. And people will let you down. People will disappoint you. And anytime you find yourself being heavily dependent on people to propel you along this journey, you are setting yourself up for failure. Pressure also makes us dependent on perfection. Everything has to work. It all has to work. Everything has to line up just so in order for us to make it. There's no room for error because every step has been planned down to the minute, the second, even the nanosecond. When we allow pressure to chase us, we end up living a life like a house of cards. One strong gust of wind, one accidental bump of the table, one storm, one person who doesn't come through for us, one mistake, and it all comes crashing down. That's the thing about being pursued by pressure, because ultimately, pressure will catch us. It wears us down and catches us. And after it catches us, we end up angry and frustrated because for all of the energy we've used running after relief, all of the resources we've used trying to evade capture, we are no closer to destiny than when we started. And for some of us, we actually end up being further away. And then we're just tired, worn out, and stuck. But I have some good news for you on today. Not all is lost. If you have been where I have been, pursued by pressure, there's a remedy just for you. Grace. God's permission to begin again. And we're thankful for His grace. For it's His grace that says you don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. You can begin again, right from where you are. A few months ago, I had a conversation with one of the wisest women I know. And as I was bemoaning my situation and my circumstance and just venting my frustrations to her, she looked at me and told me, number one, stop with the pity party. And then number two, she told me to hit the reset button. Just reset. The only way to alleviate the chase of pressure is to stop and breathe. Yeah, I had a certain time frame to be in a particular place and I wasn't there yet. And the level of frustration I felt, the same level of frustration you feel, was because pressure was in hot pursuit. So on today, my word of encouragement for you, stop, breathe, reset, accept grace, and begin again. There's no need for you to turn all the way back around. Just begin from where you are. Hit the reset button. Because when we shift from being pursued by pressure, we can then begin the greatest, the ultimate pursuit, pursuing purpose. Oh yes, purpose. Purpose is that thing that God has called us to do. Everyone has one. We all have a purpose. We all have a reason as to why we are here. It is imperative that you discover what your purpose is. Otherwise, you will end up being chased by pressure your entire life. Because you were meant for more than just getting up in the morning, going to work, coming home, and rinse and repeat. So you might be wondering how to discover your purpose. Well, pray. Seek God. He will always tell you. He will always show you. I've told others in the past that your purpose is usually that thing you would do whether you got paid for it or not. The career I'm currently in, it's not my purpose. Why? Because I wouldn't do it for free. Now this podcast, the books I'm writing, if I never make a dime doing it, I'd still do it. This is my passion, my purpose. And for so long, I allowed pressure to chase me that it took me a while to get around to pursuing this, my purpose. But don't let that be you. Have the faith and the courage to forego the chase of pressure and instead pursue purpose. And as I've pursued purpose, I've learned a few things. I've learned that I'm built for this. The pursuit of your purpose, you are built for it. It's your purpose. It belongs to you. God equips us to what He calls us to. When you are in pursuit of purpose, there is no such thing as being ill-equipped. Hebrews 13:21 tells us, and I'm just paraphrasing, that God will make us complete, or He will equip us in every good work. And that's what your purpose is, a good work meant to please God. So just as I'm built for this pursuit, so are you. I've learned that before, when I was being chased by pressure, I had a dependency problem. When I began to pursue purpose, I found the solution. When we pursue purpose, our dependency changes. Instead of being dependent on people, on perfection, on things, on ourselves, we become dependent on God and the fulfillment of His promises and manifestation of the call He has placed on our lives. I told you earlier that depending on people will always leave you disappointed at one time or another. When we rely and depend on ourselves, we will again end up frustrated and disappointed. But reliance on God and trusting in His promises will never be in vain. In Isaiah 55:11, God reminds us that any word that leaves His mouth shall not return void, but it will accomplish what He sent it out to do. In other words, if He made you a promise, count on it. When we live lives that are dependent on God and keep our focus on what He has told us to do, our arrival to our destined place of purpose is assured. And lastly, I've learned there's no shame in the reset. We've all veered off course at one time or another. There is no shame in just stopping, taking a breath, and hitting the reset button. It's okay. Sure, there are going to be people that laugh or talk about you, but that's just pressure trying to get you to start running again. Don't give in. It's okay. Hit the reset button. There's no shame in saying, I'm tired of running after people and things that in the end profit me nothing. The only way for us to get to our destined place is that we have to take the correct transportation. Purpose is the vehicle which gets us to destiny. So today, if you're being chased and run down by pressure, stop. Breathe. Accept grace. Hit the reset button and begin again. Because the pursuit, the ultimate pursuit, purpose, it's waiting on you. Go get it. It's been 10 minutes. Thank you for joining us this week on It's Just 10 Minutes. You can catch this episode as well as every other episode we've done at our website, www.itsjust10minutes.com. Please be on the lookout for our first devotional called It's Just a Devotional. That'll be coming out pretty soon. And also catch us on YouTube, Google Play, iTunes, Spreaker.com, Podomatic.com. We thank you so much for joining us on today. And remember, you had nothing to lose. Why? It was just 10 minutes.